Hello, hello. So, sorry, it's going to take me just a few seconds to get words out again. That I started making this live stream this morning, and what happened was my internet ran out, so I'm only able to continue now. Really, the only reason I'm making it now, out and about, and not waiting 5 minutes until I'm home, is due to being so disorientated. The disorientation is the conflict between my state, which is terror, and what I'm experiencing from my senses. And I'm at work in the sense of staying focused to where I am and ignoring the lies that are coming my way, but they're quite hard to ignore. So I'm having to resort to making a live stream as a further attempt to distract myself from the distraction, even though any distraction in terror from my circumstance isn't beneficial. I don't remember where I got to on the live stream earlier, in honesty. What I think I got to was realizing that where I am, the realization that I'm in terror is nothing unique to my life. We're all in terror. We're all in terror. Though I appreciate the circumstances of my life and my specific circumstance make it such that my terror is a little bit more in my face, a little bit more debilitating than I imagine most people. My terror has been reached as a result of healing. I've got here through a process of attempting to just manage my life, manage my physical pain, my mental health. And along that journey, all the terrors that have come in alongside it as a result of the outside world. Basically, I've reached the place of terror through hard work and healing. And terror is the state. So in other words, if I was to have done nothing, that in a way would have been better to acknowledge that I'm in terror than putting in any effort and in any work. I don't know if that makes sense, because I'll try and reword it. All of that process of healing my body and my mental health and everything I did in my of where I truly am, to the state of terror is a distraction. It's useless. But to realize I'm in terror and to be honest with myself, I went through a process of healing. But if I sat down, say 10 years ago, I imagine I've been in terror for longer than 10 years. But if I sat down 10 years ago and someone explained to me in the moment, first how to be strong, to prepare my mind how to deal with what they were about to enlighten me to, and then told me I was in terror, helped me see that I was in terror, helped me know what the state of terror was, and I would experience it in that moment, that would have been the best thing. That would have been the best way, I imagine, to find myself in terror. But I've gone a different route, and as I said, that route is essentially a route of healing, like we would heal any trauma or any aspect of life. It's taken a lot of energy and hard work. So I find myself in terror, and the best thing to do, I find, as a result of life, is a simple action plan to keep focused and pray for a miracle. Pray for a miracle. But what I'm finding is, because I've put so much effort in to that healing process, to be honest with myself and accept terror from a different perspective, because terror takes a lot of pain to accept. And through the hard work, through experience, I know the terror through my senses to a certain extent. I know what the state feels like in many different situations, because I was in denial up until the acceptance. So what I'm finding now is sticking to that simple action plan. It's very, very difficult, if near impossible. Because what I'm finding is that all of those elements of the healing process that were positive from a perspective of where I found myself are now a negative. Because in terror, all of those healing things, like this live stream, are useless. It's not something that's helpful at all. So I'm distracting myself from my senses that are lying to me, but I'm also in no denial that this live stream isn't helping, in the sense that it's just the lesser of two evils. And I acknowledge that the two main issues I have that have now become an addiction, whereas before they were a healing, are that of food and that of survival in terms of, well, predominantly I referenced it earlier as DIY, and with that I meant getting my home to an acceptable standard to live in. Those were my two focuses of positivity in the healing process. Obviously, life is easier and you can focus better with running water, with heat, with good cooking facilities, with electricity. You can focus better if you live a healthy diet and you eat well. You can focus better with both of those things from a mental perspective because they're nice, and the mind goes a long way in giving us energy through healing. But niceties are a lie in terror when you can't see any means to a solution other than a miracle. Believe it or not, running water, electricity, heat are positives in this place. But they don't put a mark on terror in terms of, if you don't have them, it's not the end of the world. The reason I am on a daily basis doing some DIY is just to remove that addiction that has been formed through the healing process. In other words, all that positive energy that I had to give to life just to get back to point zero in a way, which is an acceptance of where I was, carried a lot of energy with it. And to just stop that, which I couldn't have been prepared for, that I would have ever thought, oh, I'm going to have to stop in terms of an addiction to food, when it's so, with my relationship to it being so healthy in respect to what I saw as life in the world, minus the terror. And also with getting basic amenities in place. I couldn't imagine a state of being that a human could enter that they would have to live within society in this world. And all of those things just don't matter at all. But those are the two aspects I'm dealing with that are almost like an addiction now. But I'm just looking at them in terms of energy, and I'm having to apply myself to remove those addictions so I can focus on the terror and the action plan. With the DIY, it's not so hard. It's a case of practical application. It's just like focus on the action plan. With the eating aspect, it's a little bit more difficult because it's actually simpler in one sense. I need to eat, I need sustenance, and that little bit of positivity from food, from whatever food gives, accommodate in my life as a result of that healing process that it took me to get back to the place of terror. There's no problem eating for me. But the problem is my physical health, my senses. When I eat, I'm not able to feel. Well, I'm not able to feel in the first place my body, truly. So when I eat, I don't know when is the right time to stop. Because all my senses, like what's led me to making this live stream, are lying to me in the moment. So where my senses are lying, and they're telling me, oh, life is beautiful, you're at the beach, you're on summer holiday, that's what it feels like my senses are trying to tell me. But the truth is I'm in terror, and my senses do not feel that in truth. Whatever's mixed up in my chemistry and biology in my body and fucked up in my mind, probably through the process of denial, is telling me something very, very different. And if you actually think about it, if I was living a positive life through healing to get to the point of truth, and it felt like positivity, and then I got to the point of truth, and all of that positivity turns into distraction and something you don't need. It's like a reversal process, and in that process of reversal, I've got to rewire my mind, brain, and we're just having difficulty finding a place to rest the phone. So I have to rewire my brain, and I'm fighting through that. And unfortunately, food is going to take a little bit more time to just get back in touch with what I'm truly experiencing from my senses, and that way I know when to stop. That's all it is. Start and stop with food. I eat as healthily as my life allows. I'm not excessive. I'm also not too the other way. I eat very, very healthily for my life, my mind, for everything. It's just as a result of knowing my body from the perspective of my senses. That's why you should really eat. Well, that's why I should really eat. I imagine a human being would eat. It's for what they feel, what they sense, what they see, smell, taste. So I'm currently eating from the perspective of my mind, according to the past and the little I know of terror in the present. I'm constantly working there. Those are the two biggest hindrances I can really see to my life in the immediate moment. And they're the two things that are killing me in reality. every day, but I'm close to being able to cross off the DIY from that list. Hopefully that gives me that little bit of energy to focus on the action plan and my senses. With that, I'm either going to die trying, or win and die in terror to the action plan. There's no in between. What a summer holiday.